Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Miguel. I've had this channel for a little over 4 years and we just surpassed the 1 million viewership mark collectively with all my videos. Anyway, I want to thank Timex first and foremost. This is, I believe, my 4th or 5th collaboration with them. An amazing brand that's near and dear to my heart. They're just a brand that obviously being in the US represent a lot. And a cute story, a few weeks ago, my son actually took a picture of me wearing a Timex. I posted it on Instagram and Timex actually sent my son a watch.
Thank you, Timex.
As a thank you, I thought that was very cool. So Timex, thank you so much. But today we're going to be looking at the Timex 3 time zone chronograph. Just full disclosure, full transparency, this watch was sent to the channel. I get to keep it, but Timex has no say whatsoever. Throughout the video, you will see my OG Timex on the table. This Timex is on the rubber strap. I sold the one on the bracelet because for whatever reason, I just like the rubber strap they provide with their watches so much better. So there's a few key differences between the Timex, the OG, and this Timex 3 time zone chronograph. We'll just call it the Timex chronograph for the rest of the video. So some of the key differences, let me tell you the specs of the original Timex. We're looking at a 38 millimeter case, 44.8 millimeters from lug to lug, 11.5 millimeters thick, and it weighed in at 64 grams. That's with this rubber strap. Now, this Timex chronograph comes in at 40 millimeters, 46.2 millimeters from lug to lug, 12 millimeters thick, and it's 84 grams on this applied rubber strap. So as you can see, there's a slight difference in size and also in weight, but it's not significant enough to bother me, if I'm being honest. Some of the other specs of this particular watch is 316L stainless steel, water resistance of 50 meters. It does have a mineral crystal, and it provides us with an aluminum bezel that's bidirectional, and it has 12 hours. So that's where the 3 time zone comes in. So as you can tell your regular time has a GMT hand, and with the bezel you could time a third time zone. The watch is very beautiful when you look at it, and it is provided, they sell it in white, green, I believe, and black, and they also provided with a bracelet. I was lucky enough to get the, like I said, the rubber strap. For me, it just wears a lot nicer. I like this a lot better than the bracelet, but that's not to say that I don't want to try the bracelet. I heard it has a quick release system, and that is something that I would kind of be excited to check out. So let me check out this dial. Let's check it out together. I think it's very beautiful. Something so cool that I think Timex does is that hour hand, right? So at first glance, you're like, what is that? A Mercedes hand's just like a Rolex? It's not. It's actually pretty clever. It has a T for Timex. So the colorway on this is kind of a panda, if you will, not with the subdials, but just with the hands, with all the black and the white. And I think it's pretty cool. We do find 3 subdials. So a running seconds, a 24-hour indicator, and a 60-minute totalizer for the chrono. Now, I love that red hand. And I don't know, do you guys get the sense that this reminds you of an Explorer 2, a Rolex Explorer 2? Because at first glance, I was like, wait a minute. But I think it's cool. It's done differently. I do like on the right hand side that new kind of logo redesign. Says Q, then Timex chronograph. Right at the bottom around the 4 o'clock mark, we do see a date window. Typically, I don't like date windows at the 4 o'clock. It kind of bother me. But the fact that this is wide and it kind of blends in, it doesn't really mess with me so much. Indices are pretty cool. They seem to be applied. We find some rectangles, circles, a triangle. So it's pretty cool. Very nice layout. Very clean. I like the legibility on this. It's actually very, very cool. And speaking of legibility, when we turn off the lights, we find plenty of lume here. I'm not 100% sure what type of lume Timex is using, but it was actually pretty bright. I was very, very surprised. And just like with the other cases, moving on to the case, we do find very similar to the OG Timex, brushing, polishing is done very well. They're very similar to the OG, with the difference, of course, of the chronograph pushers at the 3 o'clock. We do find a crown and measures in at 5.5 millimeters. It's a push and pull, and something very interesting to note, it has a little rubber piece, and it has been signed, so that's cool. A little rubber piece helps with, gripping the crown to fix the time. Chronograph functionality, pretty easy to operate. It's a quartz movement. Obviously, it has an independent hour hand. You could independently move it, which is pretty cool because it doesn't mess with the actual minutes. So it's pretty cool if you travel to a different time zone, you could just move it, put it back in. It's a reliable watch for $219. I think is a pretty good watch. But yeah, back to the chronograph, engaging it and resetting it is actually relatively simple. There's no huge audible click like what you would get on a mecha quartz or an automatic movement. It's just more of a feel, but it feels engaging. It feels good. It feels like quality, and that's what I like about these Timex watches. I mean, $219 is not a little bit of money, but it's not a lot of money, especially when we're talking about a quartz watch. If you're talking about a mechanical quartz watch, you're going to be looking into the thousands, perhaps. And now this offers also that GMT function. I think this is one of those watches that if you are a watch collector, you need to have for several reasons. And we'll get to them towards the end of the video, but let me continue with the caseback. The caseback is screwed on with 4 little screws, and we do find that battery hatch that we all know and I love. I mean, it's easy to change the battery, and that was the whole idea with this back in the day. They wanted people to be able to change their own battery without having to spend an arm and a leg and take it somewhere else. So that is very cool, something very clever. I like it. And these quartz watches last forever. Honestly, I've had my OG Q, the one that I sold. I had it for 3 years, 2.5 years, never had to service it or do any battery change on it or anything. Rubber strap, getting onto this rubber strap. So 18 millimeters. I wish it had a quick release system, but it does not, but it's all good. I'm not 100% sure if this is FKM. It feels really supple. I do believe this is an FKM strap. They don't say that. It is a tropic style. You could see the Q logo in one of the keepers, and the buckle does say Timex on it. It's 316L stainless steel. Very comfortable on my 6 7/8 inch wrist at 17.43 centimeters. And it's comfortable. I mean, it only comes in at, what did I say? It was 84 grams. So it really doesn't weigh much. So let me tell you why this is a perfect everyday watch for somebody either deep into the hobby or getting into the hobby. For $219, you get a chronograph, you get a GMT, you get a date complication, you get a brand that's respected by a lot of people. May not be the most expensive or luxurious brands out there, but Timex has a really good reputation, especially with the military and just in general. It's been around for such a long time. It's well respected, well built. I like what Timex is doing. I was a big fan of the Q when it came out, and I was excited to see what they came out with next. And I think there's been a lot of hits, and I like their other collections, but the Q is probably one of my favorites. Now, some of the downfalls. There's one major downfall that I really don't like, and I wish they could address, is the mineral crystal. For me, I love sapphire. That's one of the biggest downfalls with this, is just the crystal. Aside from that, I mean, everything is good. The price, the functionality, the look, the feel on the wrist, beautiful. And aesthetically, I mean, come on. It looks gorgeous. To be honest with you, it looks gorgeous. This white dial, it's very, very striking. I would highly recommend this watch to anybody. And again, I'm not just saying this because they sent me the watch. I genuinely like the Q watches very much. So let me know what you think. Would you pick one of these up? And if so, what dial are you leaning towards? What's the choice here? But anyway, guys, girls, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this mini, I don't want to call it a review because they send the watch in for free. It's more of an overview, just my thoughts. But overall, I think the watch is cool. It's worth it. It's not expensive. And yeah, you get a lot of functionality. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope everybody's blessed. And as always, my friends, stay humble.